This is Riyadh. I just wanted to make a quick note. We are recording this session, and we'll have a link to it probably tomorrow afternoon. Anything we do in the future as far as these virtual meetings, we would certainly record and make available to those who were unable to sign in. And we're up to 11 attendees.
Awesome. All right, so we seem to see that afternoon is best. And so I'm going to put this out to the group and give the information that what you have all put here, it looks like afternoons are the best, possibly always pick an actual date or number date. And so that way it changes, time of the week. Or we can go with a specific day and look at that and see what the rest of the group says. But these are great suggestions that I'll look to put out to the rest of the group so we can come to a consensus before our next meeting. Which brings us to our next agenda item, looking at how do we want to continue to communicate as a group. So we have right now emails where I send out an email just that everybody in the consortium has emails coming to them with everybody else's email addresses in there. We also have a LinkedIn group that people have been posting to. Alex, if he's online, just recently posted about education Twitter chats that we talked about at our last meeting. Would the group be okay with us using Google Groups to create an email listserv to facilitate emails? That way you wouldn't have to have everybody in the consortium's email address. You could just use the listserv email to send out an email to the group about a question or an event or something you'd like to share, such as what I brought up earlier on what kind of MakerBots are people, or sorry, what kind of 3D printers are people using and what would people recommend? And so that way we could ask the question that was posted earlier of how's the monoprice 3D printers, and we can share what people are using. So would people be okay with a listserv to facilitate emailing the group is the first question. All right, great. Yeah, so that's the nice thing about the Google email listserv is that it does allow you to just have email and you don't have to worry about logging in anywhere or doing anything with that. Do people like the LinkedIn group? Has that been useful? Okay. Yeah, and then we don't have to choose just one. We can continue going with LinkedIn and the email. The only reason I brought up the email listserv is that for LinkedIn group, apparently I don't get any emails from it. So it's one of those things where I have to actually log in and check LinkedIn every day to see if anybody's posted. So I want to see if other people liked LinkedIn or if they would want to move to a Google group. All right, so at least we'll continue right now with LinkedIn, and they'll set up the email listserv so we have both going, and that way that allows people multiple ways to communicate with each other to start from. And then if we feel like we need to do more, we can address that in our next meeting. Yeah, Ellie, Danielle, I'm the same, and I've checked all my settings. I have gone to the message boards and the support areas for LinkedIn, and it sounds like this is an issue that LinkedIn has and they're just not really addressing it. And there's nothing really that we can do on our end but continue to post there and have people log on and check, but we'll continue to send things out over email so no one misses any announcement or anything like that. Okay. All right. Wow, we're speeding right through. So the next item on the agenda is how can we better include all members in workshops? So last week we had one workshop that was in person at the Piscataway Library, but a lot of people gave me the feedback that either the time wasn't good or it was a far drive for them, because we do have people in the consortium as far south as Cape May and also people in the north in Bergen County. So it is hard for everybody to be able to have time to drive to a workshop. And I was wondering what people thought about having multiple locations or several workshops going in our workshop months with different topics. And and being able to offer more than just one workshop a month to the consortium to, level up our skills with maker stuff or learning about different topics of interest. In order to do that, we would need to have volunteers for hosting these, and they could be digital makes or they could be in-person makes. Does a group feel that they would be interested in having more volunteers for our workshop months? I see 2 people are typing, so I'll just wait for them to finish putting in. Okay, so we have Ellie likes the idea of virtual would be great. Yeah, I agree. It's nice to go places, but sometimes like these meetings, virtual is great. Changing locations for physical hands-on workshops makes sense. Yeah, and we need volunteers. And so we would need to, if everybody could think about how maybe they would be able to volunteer a workshop, whether it be virtual or in person or for on location workshops, start thinking about that. We will be doing our next set of workshops in January. So we could, start thinking about what you might want to do and if you think your location could host any physical or virtual workshops for people. And by swapping, what do you mean? Alternating every other month, or or do you mean that we'd have one and one? Just trying to understand what you mean by swapping. Yes, alternating. Okay. Okay, an alternating pattern. Okay. Yeah, so Ellie, when we volunteer to host a workshop, you would plan an activity that you would want to lead the group in. So, for example, Doug had several activities that he had in mind, and he chose the circuit tiles because we had a lot of people interested in electronics or doing circuits. And so you just lead them through an activity. So you'd want to think about um, what tools or what materials would you have on hand that you could have the group do. And it's okay for you to limit the number. And that's why I say it might be good to have more than one a month, because we can have, people might be able to do a workshop for 10 people, and that might work for who's locally, but then be able to offer different locations and different workshops so everybody can be involved. Okay. Yeah, we definitely need to see for volunteers what we can do. Great, thanks, Irene. Yeah, we don't need a central location because I think while New Jersey is a small state, we're not that small that we would be able to have a central location for everybody to drive down to. And as Danielle pointed out, with winter months coming up and rain and sleet and ice, I don't think too many people are going to want to be driving a lot in those conditions. Even though I did just get a nice four-wheel drive car, I still don't want to test it. So speaking of essential location, we did have the idea for our next agenda item, where to have a December social, just being able to get together in person. I know during the December time we have a lot of parties and events to go to, but figured there would be a way to have a December social so that we can get to meet each other, just talk and hang out and have some fun. And so putting it out there, is there a central place that we feel that yes, we can create a Google form, Danielle, for some ideas and volunteer. I'll get that out. We'll send it out through the email listserv. For the December social, does anybody have any ideas if they would like to meet up for a drink or two, in December? Again, don't have to have a specific idea, but location, if we were thinking maybe Newark or perhaps New Brunswick, that sort of thing. Be very informal, that sort of thing. Anywhere central New Jersey would be good. Okay.
For those of you who are not following the chat aggressively, it looks like we've got 4 people who are reporting issues with audio. I'm in the same room as Veronica, so I'm unable to confirm, but earlier we had a report or two that the audio was fine. Trying to figure out real quick can everybody hear me okay, or trying to figure out if there's a system issue or if it's just these few machines. Danielle, thank you.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right, so we're getting some people at SHU and outside of SHU who can hear. For those of you who are having audio issues, we do apologize.
We'll continue to try and help you troubleshoot and figure out if we can get you. Probably should type that. We're gonna still try and get things up. Yeah. See if we can call it. Yeah, we do have a call. Yeah, for next time we will. Regina, great question. For those of you that don't already know, I am currently pregnant and will be going on maternity leave actually at the end of this week. But while I am out, we will continue to be doing the meetings and everything. And Danielle Merleth, who is our director of instructional design at Seton Hall, will be the point of contact and managing the communication. So it shouldn't impact the group at all. You shouldn't notice a difference other than you'll see a different person leading communication with that. Oh. All right. So again, we do apologize to everybody who's having audio issues. We'll try and see if we can figure that out next time around and see if we can get people to log in about 15 minutes early so we can test it out ahead of time. All right. So moving on to our last agenda item. I have out here our January workshops, looking for a call for volunteers. You had Irene and Emily from Maplewood Library volunteer, and I will do what Danielle has suggested and send out a form to allow people, if they want to volunteer, we can start scheduling it so people can prepare and know what month they will be hosting a workshop, and we can get going with suggestions. So if you do want to volunteer, feel free to type in the message window now, and I will contact you this evening about, organizing a month for you to volunteer, or you can wait till I send out the form and just submit that way.
Go ahead.
To call 719
7.
325 2776 with the passcode.
Hang on.
Google Hangouts is a nice tool to use. It's suggested, but you can only have 7 people talk at the same time, and while a lot of you are chatting, it's hard to have a large group even chat together on it. So that's why we didn't do Google Groups. It tends to cut off after 7 or 10 people. All right, so we've been able to get the conference phone number, so we're going to try and get some people on the audio.
Where's the
Okay. We are setting up a conference call, Doug. If you're hearing audio fine, you don't need to call in. It's just a way to give audio to people that aren't able to hear. So those of you that can hear just fine for right now, you can stay on the line.
Is anyone joining us by phone?
Hi, this is Lisa O'Shaughnessy from East Orange.
Oh, great. Kicking it old school, so with speakerphone, isn't it great?
Yeah, sorry about my issues with the audio. I should have checked in with my IT department beforehand.
We all have them. The one thing that we can rely on with technology is that something will always not work to create a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So right now we've gone through a lot of the agenda items, and like I said, I'll send out the recording so that people can listen to what we've discussed. But you've been able to see in the chat area what we have. But we're really looking at right now is the December social, if people are interested in meeting up, and some suggestions on where we'd like to meet up with.
All right.
Definitely not my house.
Okay, we're in. Thanks, Regina.
Edison Jean.
Hey, Max, great to have you join us.
How's everybody doing today?
We're good.
Fantastic.
Okay. I have a suggestion of South Orange or Maplewood.
Conference phone number, passcode word.
So we have a suggestion for South Orange or Maplewood for the social. Would that work for other people location-wise? I'm not remembering where everybody's located. So if South Orange, Maplewood isn't good, I'd suggest some other towns we could possibly meet up in. Newark, New
Cape
Brunswick, Cape May. I think we're going to save Cape May for the summertime.
But it's humid in the summertime.
I've already told Aaron Day, who's the Cape May librarian in the group, that we're gonna all come down and want a weekend event in around May or June. Okay, so it sounds like people are looking okay with South Orange or Maplewood, and so we'll put out to the rest of the group to see if that's good. Yes, definitely suggestion box. And so to recap for those of us that just joined us on audio, when we talked about in the fourth item, how do we want to continue to communicate as a group, we're going to start up a Google email listserv to facilitate emails. That way you can just send, when sending an email out to the group, you can just use one email for the group and hit everybody up with any questions you have or events that you want to participate in, that sort of thing. Then we'll continue to do the LinkedIn group as well and keep things posted there because it seems people like both the options of the LinkedIn group and also having it on email. For workshops, we're going to continue with about one a month, but we'll alternate between a virtual a month or an in-person one. And so we're now having a call for volunteers. We are going to put out a form for anybody who wants to volunteer to do a workshop to do that, and we can start scheduling them out so we know what we have going over the next couple of months. Okay. And so I'll go back to the first item on the agenda. Is there anything else that we'd like to talk about? Anything that people were hoping to discuss or would like to say for today's meeting? Doug, I actually participated in the Barnes & Noble's Maker event. I went to the Hackensack Barnes & Noble and I took some things that I did with wearable electronics with the Arduino Lily pads and spent about an hour there talking to kids about it. They loved it, especially a lot of the boys. When I would say this is our, Lily pad Arduino, they're like, that's not Arduino. I go, actually it is. It's for clothes, and it really got them interested. And I think I even got some of the store employees, they're going to look into purchasing some of the Lily pad Arduino stuff to add to their little section on maker stuff. So it was really nice to go to, and they had a lot of stuff going on. It was small, I think I spoke to about 10 people while I was there during the hour, but it was nice. And I had everything from kids, about the 10 to 12 years of age, I would say, that even several adult women that when they found out what I was doing came over to talk to me and find out, what was going on and where to buy it. Everybody was asking, where do I buy it? Which I felt bad that I couldn't say Barnes & Noble, but it was. Did anybody else participate in the Barnes & Noble Maker event, either by just going to one or actually presenting at one? Ellie, did you go? for your library, did you go to Barnes and Noble, or was that specifically at your library over the weekend? Oh, nice. Home Dell. That's great. Oh no. Yeah, they had a 3D printer going on Hackensack that was doing some stuff. Didn't,
Thank you.
but they didn't. I don't think they let anybody touch it. Susanna, for the Metuchen coding program at 1 p.m. on Sunday, is that the Metuchen Barnes and Noble?
Yes, the Menlo Park.
Great. I'll send out information to the group, Regina. The LilyPad Arduino has a variety of price points. So what I was showing them was a little kit called the LilyPad Twinkle that costs about 20 bucks. And what comes with it is a coin cell battery holder with a switch, 4 LED sewable lights, and a controller that'll allow them to have like the lights blink or twinkle. That's why it's called LilyPad Twinkle. And it comes with conductive thread and a needle. And so for 20 bucks, they have all they need to get started with purchasing it. Tiffany, actually, we got it off of Amazon, but technically it's coming from SparkFun. But we ordered through Amazon because the shipping was faster, ironically, than going through SparkFun. And so SparkFun or Amazon are the two places that I know of to get LilyPad products. And you can go even more complex they have a controller that's much bigger that you can program, uses the same coding languages as Arduino, but they're more expensive. Just the controller itself is $20. Then you have to buy the LED lights, the conductive thread, and everything. So you can go really high tech and really blow it out with the LilyPad Arduinos, or you can start small with something like the LilyPad Twinkle. I don't know about Makey with that. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, so the LilyPad stuff is great for doing sewing circuits. There's a fun project that the woman who developed the LilyPad Arduino stuff, a project she has she calls it a circuit quilt, where each student gets a square and they design their circuit, and it's basically just a simple circuit where they have a battery holder, a switch, and an LED light, and they get to figure out how to put it together so it works. And it seems like it'd be a lot of fun for class to do because each one are going to be the same but looking different. Yeah, who's on the phone?
Yes, she'll need the key.
So, all right, so it looks like we have some makey workshops. So maybe Regina, you guys could do a makey workshop for us to go with that, or seeing how we can use Scratch with it as well. Oh, nice. And Doug, where did you find the Ardu block in Arduino IDE? Oh, there you go. You're ahead of me. Do people in the group use Arduino more or Raspberry Pi? We have sets of both, and we've been tending to do more Raspberry Pi projects. But are you guys seeing more interest in Arduino, or is there not really enough of a difference to say? Okay, good to know. Now that's something good to know. If you don't have hardware, you can still prototype digitally. That's good to know, not having to always buy the hardware pieces. And so the 1, 2, 3D circuits, Doug, that's the web-based one? Cool. Oh, and Irene, that's interesting that you mentioned working on a digital sign for the Create Space, because Riyadh did that for us with digital signage for the Teaching Learning Technology Center. So I'm going to go ahead and volunteer him and say if you have any questions or if you run into any obstacles, to reach out to him, because I'm sure he'd be able to share what he learned with that. Rod, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. I have a Raspberry Pi mounted to the back of a 27-inch LCD television, just running the HDMI into it. I forget the name of the program off the top of my head. I'll post it tomorrow. It's a program you install on a Raspberry Pi that started out running Raspbian. It auto boots into the program. You FTP any video file to the system, and it will just loop the video files. To produce the video files, just start with PowerPoint. Create a slide deck in PowerPoint 2013, file save as, export as an MP4. That will create a 720p, which is okay in my mind. I'm a little bit of a resolution snob, I will fully admit that. If you haven't already seen Office Mix, I would suggest you take a look at Office Mix. It is free from Microsoft, but you do have to jump through a couple hoops. I'll include some information on that as well. The nice thing with Office Mix is you can export as a full 1080. So you get the full HD resolution. If you want to, the videos can just reside on a thumbstick, plug into the side of the Raspberry Pi. I've gone ahead and modified the code ever so slightly, and there's some great directions that I'll forward with you. So I can just FTP the new videos up, give a command to reboot the Pi. It sees the new videos, and it just starts the loop all over again. Doug, thank you for including the link to Office Mix. And while I'm on the soapbox, might as well keep talking about Office Mix. There are some interesting features there that will let you do a screen recording, will let you do voice over PowerPoint, and it will export in a SCORM compatible format. For those of you who know what SCORM is, here's one more tool that'll do it, but it's relatively cheap. All you have to do is apply PowerPoint. For those of you who don't know what SCORM is,
you're lucky.
Don't worry about it.
But SCORM is a format that we use to upload to our learning management system in Blackboard. So if you're using a learning management system like that, Office Mix is definitely a helpful tool to have SCORM compatible files. So nice. So does everybody typically get their supplies off of Spark Fun? Or where do people typically order from? DigiKey, okay. Because I find I really like SparkFun's website, but their shipping costs and they're kind of slow on shipping that we've tended to go more towards Amazon with that. Direct from Makey. Okay. Little Bits is ending? Or it's ending the educator's discount. Oh, yeah, so order your stuff now. That'd be great, Ong, if you could share that with us. Oh, interesting. I like looking at the Kickstarter stuff. There's been some really interesting Kickstarter campaigns for maker projects. There's one that Riyadh and I found on the Maker Arm or something along those lines that it did. Remember that one we were looking at? And it,
Oh, the etching arm that
Yeah.
also did 3D printing. Yeah.
etching, 3D printing, lots of different stuff. It's cool. Yeah, definitely would find it interesting.
Radio Shack Online. I remember the day when you could walk into a Radio Shack,
There's still an
ask
online
for
radio?
a 555 circuit, or excuse me, a 555 transistor, and they knew what you're talking about. I don't know if there are any brick and mortar.
No, there's no
Open.
more Radio Shacks open. Heidi, we are not the group behind Makers Day in New Jersey, but Doug, who is in this call or in this meeting, he is the genius behind the Maker Day in March. If in terms of ideas for going forward with Makers Day, this would be a great group to discuss them. And if people have ideas, or if people are looking to collaborate or want to do anything together. I know that at Seton Hall we'll be participating in the Makers Day, though we haven't come up with a plan yet on what we're going to be doing, though we'll be talking about it in the coming months. What are OSBOTs, Tiffany? Okay, interesting. Oh, Tiffany, I'm glad you brought that up, saying it's great for special ed and young students, because at Seton Hall we're trying to figure out how we can, with our makerspace, make sure that it is inclusive and accessible for people of all abilities. And so that's a really nice thing to know about how we can make it. There's a organization in New York City called DIY Ability that works as a makerspace for students that or just people, not just students, with disabilities, for them to be able to get into making as well. Oh, that's great, Tiffany. I'll be in contact with you if you can tell me more about it, so we can post it to the consortium website and just see about the different events that are going on. Because sometimes the big thing with maker events is just getting the word out, getting people to know about them ahead of time. Wow. I agree, Danielle. It would be great to fill the Maker Consortium blog with everybody's experiences, not just ours at Seton Hall. And so when I send out an email for call for volunteers, I'll also ask people about news stories that we can talk about, and if you would be interested in writing a blog post for us. And we're starting to wind down the hour, so we'll just, leave the meeting open for people to continue to talk and chat about things. And about 5 o'clock, we'll look to close it out and continue the conversation through email. It is a good thought, Doug, about lending kits. Definitely something we should continue to talk about and see what that would look like and how we could do it. All right, Tiffany, definitely. How are your media centers doing the lending kits and sharing them? Okay. Do you have any problems with teachers not returning them? Is there any penalty if they don't return them? This is all in Tom's River, Tiffany? Oh, that's awesome. Who helped you design the curriculum, Tiffany? Did you work with the faculty members, or was it a specific group that was teams of teachers? Okay, that's great. Were they volunteers or were they asked to do it by administration? Thanks, Max. And so I'm assuming with this group of teachers, you have a lot of STEM type materials that people could use. Am I right? Great. Thanks, Regina. Tiffany, when you say each high school, how many high schools are in your district? That is a big district. Tom's River.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm laughing, Tiffany, because I came from upstate New York where I had about 50 people in a graduating class. We had two buildings, K through 6, then 7 through 12, outside of Albany in a small town called Duanesburg. Thanks, Ellie. Ken, we're going to do a December social. We didn't come up with a date. I'm going to post things to the LinkedIn group still and do the email listserv, so we'll still have both of those. And for January workshops, we're going to be sending out a Google form for people to volunteer for, so we can start planning those out for the next couple of months. Oh, that's a good idea, Tiffany. I like that. I could definitely create a map of members so they know where everybody at least works. They've given that information. Yep. All right, great. So since it's 5 o'clock, we will close out so people can get on their way home if they haven't been able to leave the office yet. And we will send out a recording of today's meeting tomorrow, as well as notes, and we'll keep the conversation going. But thanks everyone for joining, and we have shared so much today. This is great. This is exactly why we wanted to start the consortium, for everybody to share what they've been doing and help each other out.